Hello, this is Manesh Patel from ichimokutrade.com. Today is February 17th, 2013. We're broadcasting from New York today from Traders Expo. This is our weekly Ichimoku analysis for the currency Forex market, where we're going to cover everything from euro, yen, and so forth. This is our normal disclaimer. This is for education use only. All charts today you're going to see are basically from TradeStation. If you decide to take any trades from this webinar, this educational webinar, you're going to do that at your own risk. Here are our contact details here. You could call us at any of our office locations here, or you can email us here at info@eiicapital.com, or you could go to our website to access any of the free videos, multiple time frame email alerts, and so forth. Okay. Now we're going to go straight to TradeStation, and we're going to start looking at the currencies. Remember, on the left hand side is basically the daily time frame, right hand side is basically the weekly time frame. Okay, first currency we're looking at, Australian CAD. This thing's really not doing anything at all. This thing's just sitting there, and I'll just draw some lines here so you guys could see it. I mean, it's just right there, a little lower, right there. 54.89 is basically resistance. 234 is basically its support. So this is actually just bouncing within that range. If you want to look for a short-term resistance, you're looking at 393. So 393 and 234 is kind of the range that this thing's kind of hopping in. Australian yen, if you look here, basically still very strong, trending on both the daily and the weekly. So nothing, no real major pullbacks have occurred at all for this thing. If you look here, Australian Switzy went down, kind of came back up. This is kind of in a counter trend mode right now, where the resistance is basically 96.15. Support on this one's going to be basically 94.62. It's ranging between those two values right now, so nothing really going on at all. Quickly going back to that, if it could break the 94.62, this thing can sit there and go down to about 92.50. That's about it for now, because it's in the cloud here on the weekly time frame, and it's coming to a major resistance. Support. Australia and New Zealand, you could see, is basically starting a trend here to the downside on both the daily and weekly. So this is one that everyone should have gotten in last week. Well, it's been in for a while now, because this trend is still occurring. It broke for this little support that we had outlined here at about 23.46, broke for that support. And if you look at it now, let's see where the next one's going to be. Next support is going to be roughly about right. Actually, I think it just bounced off there. Next support is going to be about 21.95, where it's kind of sitting on. Resistance for this thing is basically going to be 23.96 moving forward. Australian USD, you could see here. Notice Australian took a kind of hit last week. Here it's kind of counter trending right now. It's trying to start a trend to the downside here, but it ran into some major support roughly around 250. Resistance on this thing is going to be about 386, but notice could not break the 600 level here at all, so that was kind of key, which is pretty much defined the top of the range now. Cat Switzy, really nothing going on in this one. Resistance is basically 92.68. Support on this guy is going to be about, I would say about, let's just say it's 9100. If it could break that support, then this thing possibly can start a trend to the downside a little, to at least to 9,000, and then you can see kind of exactly what happens after that. CAD Yen, really nothing going on. Nothing, has not pulled back at all, so this thing is still trending very well. Noticed the CAD Yen on both the daily and weekly is still going really well. Switzy Yen, you notice most of the Yen pairs are still very strong, not even engaged in a major pullback at all. On this one, basically, support's going to be basically 98.75. Resistance is going to be about 101, not 80 right now. Euro Australian. If you look at Euro Australian, really not doing anything right now. Kind of broke out of its resistance of 3,000. Then it kind of came back all the way back down, went below it. So it's been an interesting one. Right now it's stuck between 3002 and basically 2851. EuroCAD. EuroCAD is not doing much at all. It's doing its little pullback that it needs. Watch this one carefully. If it gets to 32.77 and holds there, then this potentially can sit there and go back up to 3600. But that's going to be a key support. Resistance on this one's going to be about 35.50. Euro Switzy. This is the currency that's pegged. It's kind of hanging around at its major support right now, so it's just hanging around at its support. Resistance is going to be basically 2,500. Euro DKK really not doing anything at all. It's basically between the support resistance. Resistance is going to be 46.02, and support's going to be 45.43 moving forward. Euro pound. Euro pound here looks like it's trying to start a trend, but not quite. It started a trend on the daily, but it hasn't pulled out yet. It ran into a major resistance at 8,700. If it could break that resistance, this thing can start a major trend to the top side, but be very careful. That's asking a lot out of the euro pound. Support on this one's going to be basically 8,400. Euro yen. Still very strong, really hasn't pulled back that much. Support on this one's going to be 122.07, and resistance is going to be roughly, I would say, about 125.29. Euro NOK. There's nothing going on in Euro NOK here. This thing's just consolidating here. Resistance is going to be 4,600. Support is going to be basically 3,000. Euro New Zealand. Really not doing anything at all either. If you look at this thing is just kind of going sideways. Resistance is going to be 6,300. Support basically is going to be roughly about, it's kind of at one of the major supports right now, 5,700. Euro SEK. You could see a big move down here where the SEK got very strong here. That's a huge move. It moved straight down into support, roughly around 4,400. It was the major support. Resistance now is going to be basically 57.21 now. Euro USD. Euro USD, you're kind of sitting on a major support right now, 3,300. If this breaks, then it does have a possibility of coming down to probably about, there's supports at every 100 pips levels going down. Major support's going to be basically around 3,000, of course, and resistance, as you know, is going to be at the top that it got to, but minor resistance it's going to hit basically is 34.51. It's a minor one. Pound Australian, you can see here it's kind of sitting on a support right now that it can bounce off at 49.50 is the support. Resistance on this one right now. Short term is going to be 51.42. Major one's going to be about 54.06. Pound Switzy here, you can see it kind of bounced off the major support, came back up. So support on this one's 4,200. Resistance is going to be 43.58 is a minor one. 45.92 is going to be the major one. Pound yen. If you notice, this one's kind of pulled back the most of all the yen pairs. And it kind of sat there and got right straight to its major support at 143.60, bounced off there, and it's kind of stuck between a minor resistance level right now at 145.35. If it breaks the 145.35, then it can retest the high and possibly continue on this trend. But this is in a trend still. So you know, it has not really occurred a major pullback at all yet. Pound New Zealand, if you look here, this is basically trending to the downside. Notice New Zealand's getting strong, and you could see here going straight down. So this has been very strong, moving down. I'm going to shrink this down. It broke its support at 85.21. We have to go back really far to sit there and look for anything more. So this is kind of it for support levels right now that it broke. So 85.21 is the support level it broke. Resistance on this one's going to be 87.17. Pound USD, you could look here. You notice pound across the board has gotten weak. And you could see here the trend down to the downside. It basically got to support right at 5,500, bounce off there, and now it's sitting there stuck between support that 5,500 level and a major resistance level is going to be 58.20, and the minor one's going to be about 56.52. New Zealand CAD. You could see here is trending to the top side. Little minor level here at the pullback level, but this is trending to the top side. It broke its resistance at 84.04 that we had outlined, and you could see here it's going higher. There's no more data here for us to look at. Support on this one's going to be 83.84. New Zealand here, New Zealand Swifty popped straight into resistance at 78.50, kind of held there. Support on this one's going to be basically right around 76.54. New Zealand Yen is, you notice this one's still very strong. Minor support on this one's going to be 78.30. Resistance, of course, is going to be up here. Let's just say it's 80. New Zealand USD. This one popped up and then came straight down. Interesting one here. Looked like it was going to sit there and keep on going, but it didn't quite do that. Broke its resistance level 84.70, then came right back inside of there, which is not too good at all. Support on this one's going to be 83.44, which has got to hold. Singapore Yen. If you look at Singapore Yen, this is strong, just like everything else. It's at a minor support level, 75.14. Major support level is going to be 73.87. US CAD. US CAD's really not doing anything here. Its resistance level is going to be right here at 100. It's going to be its major resistance level. Minor support is basically 1 bar, which is 1. And then the major support is going to be basically at 99.57. US Switzy, really nothing going on here. It's at a resistance level right now. Support on this one's going to be 91.50. USDKK, bounce off his support at 44.72. It came back up to a minor resistance level, which is kind of at right now. Major one's going to be at 74.81. US Hong Kong, really nothing going on here. Bounce off its resistance of 7600, and we're kind of sitting at a major support level right now. If it breaks that support level, we're going to go retest the lows at the bottom. US Yen, here you can see it's basically still going up very nicely. Support on this one's going to be basically 91.11. US Nook, really not doing anything at all, starting to trend to the bearish side. Down here, it's doing some minor pullbacks. It's at a little minor resistance level right now. Major one's going to be basically at 68.92. US SEC, it's at a support level right now. Major one at 29.78. Resistance on this guy is going to be basically roughly about, I would say, 54.35. And US Singapore dollar, you could see here it's kind of stuck between support resistances. Support it's at is 23.36, resistance is 23.98. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll definitely speak to you next week. Thank you.